Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night to all of those of you watching out there during one of those times today, and welcome to the super awesome, mega badass review show starring Eric, and my friend, the cat who is Milo. Now, in case you live under a rock and don't know who I am, let me fill you in. I'm a world-famous gourmet explorer who's dedicated his entire life to traveling the world and reviewing anything and everything that can be found on God's green earth. What's a gourmet explorer, you ask? Well, I'll tell you this much. I think you're asking a bunch of questions that you really don't want the answer to. Some of you watching are die-hard Sam Bursey fans, and I'm about to give you another classic installment of Sam Bursey. For those of you sitting there wondering, what's Sam Bursey? It's an acronym. Super awesome, mega badass review show starring Eric. Alright, enough stalling, let's get on with this week's review. This week I'm reviewing ENGL-2225-500B. It's a college course for those people who want to choose a higher education instead of the default American destiny of Walmart reader. Welcome to Walmart. ENGL-2225-500B, or as it's affectionately known, Technical Writing, is an online course that teaches America's youth the ways of making professional emails, memos, reports, etc. This class is helpful in making sure that the people who take it don't make idiots of themselves in the workplace. Now it's time for the most popular segment on the show, Strengths and Weaknesses. If you remember my review from last week of the Academy Award repellent film A Talking Cat, you'll remember that I had to retitle this segment Weaknesses and Weaknesses because there was literally nothing good about that film in any regard. So for this week, I thought I'd try and take the high road and point out as many strengths as I can. The strengths of ENGL-2225-500B are as follows. The class doesn't require you to learn any definitions or equations. If you're able to understand a format fairly easily, you're golden. Example, one of the first assignments was to write a memo to someone. I looked at the examples, and I figured out what it wanted from me, and then 20 minutes later, I had written a memo to everybody about a grocery store / laser tag arena that was going to be opening. I got a good grade because I followed the format. It seems unbelievable, right? The strengths don't stop there. Another strength is that it teaches you how to write things that you'll encounter somewhere out in the real world. For example, we learned the proper way to send a business email. Before this class, my emails read like this. OMG, Becky, I forgot to eat breakfast this morning. Totes hungry, JK. By the way, we should get lunch today, BFFs. But now, after learning how to write a proper business email, my emails read like this. Dear Rebecca, I woke up this morning and realized I had slept through my alarm. I was running late to work and I am currently running a little behind with the forms that I said I would have in your desk by 11 a.m. this morning. I do have a few questions for you regarding the forms, and since I was in a rush this morning, I only got to eat a couple bites for breakfast. Would you like to go to lunch with me today and talk about the upcoming merger and the questions I have about the paperwork? Thanks. Boom! I had you fooled there. Suddenly you're thinking, that sounds like a very realistic scenario. Well, it kind of is, and this class spends basically all of its time preparing you for such a situation. Now, this segment is called Strengths and Weaknesses, so I do have to point out at least one weakness of this course, and that is the hideous title, ENGL-2225-500B. It rolls right off the tongue like a box of lead weights rolls down a hill. One of the biggest things about this course is that it's an online course. We live in a digital age where now television is on the computer, and all of our communication with everyone we know is on the computer, so why shouldn't school be on the computer? What did I think of the course being online? I actually enjoyed it a lot more than I would have if I had done it the traditional way and taken this class in a classroom. I didn't have a teacher looking over my shoulder all the time, which really helped me when I was trying to write all these assignments. Having the freedom to just kind of come up with, whatever I wanted to write and find out ways to make it work with the assignment was often a lot of fun. In everything that I review, I always like to take the time to look back and look at what I've learned from the experience. And what did I learn from taking ENGL-2225-500B? Two things. One, I learned that if you can write and you write passionately about what you're writing about, you can write about just about anything in any format. And two, Microsoft Word takes its name way too seriously because it only does one thing well, and that's words. Trying to just put one picture into a Word document proved to be the most challenging, frustrating, maddening thing I've ever tried in my entire life. I've had a lot of experiences in my life, and this one overall was actually a positive one, and considering that it's a class, and historically classes and I are like fire to a gas tank. Explosions, explosions, explosions! But if I could suggest one change to the class, it would be to find a catchier name. Anything would be better than ENGL-2225-500B. Well, that's all the time we have for today. Join us next week when I review the pros and cons of entering a nearsighted horse into the Kentucky Derby.